We've been on a bit of a side quest. You see, we've got a high prey drive dog who's been raised in the city. Whilst highly trainable, we need to impose some better control measures between her and the new horses. So we've converted this ramshackle little milking barn on the other side of the property into a horse tack shed. With $1 million view and using only materials that we collected on the property.
Oh, that's super cool, that.
But in doing so, Juri has become fairly enamored with just being out here.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Working with his hands and building something beautiful. And now the plans for this spot have definitely escalated.
Done, I'm moving on now. Got this one little job to do over here. It's getting bigger as we go. A hitching post, a post and rail fence, like an old classic timber gate on that. Got to install some gutters, a tank.
So while I work away on the filming and editing of this channel, he'll be bringing some light into the tack shed. Pushing the machinery to its limits.
Wouldn't bloody believe it!
Getting dirty, frustrated.
Sometimes I wonder why I make life hard for myself. That was sketchy.
And ultimately, incredibly rewarded.
It's the old school vibe, you got to do the old school work.
Building this one-of-a-kind post and rail fence, the old school way.
It's just so rewarding. It's a lot of work, but it's so rewarding. Window time. Pretty dark in here, so just bear with me. Gonna mark the window out, cut it out with the angle grinder, that'll let some light in so you'll be able to see better. And then just make a real basic frame, pop this in there, problem solved. That's a pretty nice view, actually. Pretty sure. Oh, did you notice, actually, I got a haircut. Sharpened up the fade a little bit. It was nice. It's got to stay sharp, got to stay sharp. No, I was going to say, this is probably the best tack room view in the country, I would guess. It's pretty special. That's a wrap for the window, folks. It's come up all right. Needs a bit of silicone and a bit of paint just to finish it off. It may leak. I don't have much of a flashing on the top here. And if the rain comes in sideways on this iron here, it'll run down and hit the top of the window. But look, I don't think anyone's too worried about that. So silicone, paint, done. I'm moving on now. Got this one little job to do over here. I'll show you. I went all out, spent big. 2 coach screws and washers. I think it worked out to be about $4.50 for these. So that brings the total expenditure on this place so far to about, probably about $48, I think. These are for this chain that we were trying to put up yesterday, and these hooks. I needed a decent sized bolt to go through these holes. So I'm going to screw that on to this side here and this side here and just have a bit of a barrier there to stop the horses and the cattle coming in. But yeah, big spend. Left-handed and everything. Really need to update my drill bit collection. Getting a bit light on drill bits. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have the same vibe, but might have to paint that, or grind it back, maybe grind the gull off it so it rusts, but yeah, it'll look alright. Hooked up over there, that looks pretty cool. Bring this over here, hook it up over there.
Then one Sunday morning, we woke to find our mountains sprinkled with the first snow of the season. And in the opposite direction, a golden sunrise.
I've got a confession to make, guys. The next 2 episodes, you're going to see me use a chainsaw without wearing chainsaw pants. And the reason for that was that I gave my chainsaw pants to my dad as they were a bit short on me. Unfortunately, I didn't buy a pair as soon as I should have. However, I have just gone out and bought a new pair, so you will see them in future episodes. But for the next 2 episodes, you'll probably see a good bit of chainsaw use without chainsaw pants. In saying that though, the number one thing you can do to stay safe from chainsaws is treat them with a healthy dose of respect. So as an arborist, I've seen a few instances and been involved in a few where the chainsaw pants have saved me. And they are really, really effective. So don't underestimate how important they are. Yeah, wear your PPE and treat those saws with respect, because yeah, they're an incredibly dangerous tool, but also an incredibly useful tool as well. So don't become another statistic. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, it's a cold, windy Sunday afternoon, and I've come out the back here to take a look for not sure what they're called, but the bar that you sit your saddles on, like a log. Saddle rack, something like that. Anyway, I'm just looking in the burn pile down the back of the property to go in the little tack room. Just need a piece about 2 meters long, 6 feet. And I'll put it in the tack room and mount it. I just struggle to sit still on a Sunday, so got to get out into it. It's just too beautiful out here. The hard bit is finding something that's straight and doesn't have any branches coming off it. Unlike all the softwoods in the northern hemisphere, like pine and cypress and so on, eucalyptus just don't grow that straight. You can get some good straight barrels here and there, but on the big old trees, they're all just twisted gnarly, and it's the big old trees that make up the bulk of the branches that have fallen on the ground. So I'm gonna have a dig around through this stack, see if I can find something that's straight enough and cut it to length. I think I can make this one work. Not very long, straight enough. Cut a few knots off, cut this end off here. Probably about round enough. I don't know what the optimal diameter is for a saddle, but that looks optimal. I need to install a bench through here. We're going to move the existing bench from that side of the room over to here. So we've got, ooh, that's the door. So we've got a space to put a little fire pot, because it gets awfully chilly up here in winter, and I think Mon needs a little fire pot to stay warm after a ride. Hot cup of tea, maybe some coffee. She'll like it. This is the original bench in question. It's well built and solid. A little bit higher than I'd like because I'm vertically challenged. And so I think we'll knock this one out, put a new bench in here, fire pot in this corner here, little spot to sit here where you can see the mountain, hot cup of tea. Ooh, it's almost making me want to ride horses. I got a little bit carried away and installed the bench without recording it. So we have a new bench now under the window, 400 mils wide, not too deep, just enough to get a little bit done. And then down here, I'm going to install the bar that I went and cut, the log that I went and cut with the chainsaw earlier, to sit 2 saddles on. You'll fit 2 in there. Up here, I'm going to run boards along here and then put a set of shelves in there, just to sort of use that space, because otherwise you won't. Sun's going down here, it's starting to get a bit dark in this room, but you can see the shelves are finished. Well, maybe you can't. Bench is finished, and now I'm just about to run over, grab the chainsaw and just cut this last saddle log there, just sit across there. Get that done today, and then I think I'll be finished for the day. But the shelf came up alright, it's pretty rough. I think I've said that a few times now. Turn around this way so you can see me. Shelf came up good. I'll get some better footage of it in the morning when it's a bit lighter. But yeah, it's looking really good in here, guys. Really bloody good. I love it. I love getting stuff done. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a near perfect fit. Sometimes get a bit smug about it. Remember that old fence from a few videos back, and I was talking about pulling it down and having to replace a whole lot of internal fencing? Well, it's come to that day. As a part of the milking shed or the tack room build, it's come to that point where I've got to pull that old fence up, clean up all around the tack shed, and we can prep for the new fence to go. And we're going to build a post and rail fence here and a couple of wooden gates. Should come up really well. But first things first, clean up all this mess. Both sides of the tack shed are pretty messy. Clean all that up, clean up this fence. I'm going to try and salvage as much as I can from the fence. So some of the old star posts are still pretty good. The gate and the gate hardware, and maybe a few of the treated pine posts. Salvage those, and the rest we can scrap. I managed to salvage a bit from the fence. I got about half a dozen star posts and a few timber posts and gate hardware, so there's a little bit there for the next job. And I was going great, but then I stood on a European wasp nest in the ground, and thankfully didn't get bitten, but well, I hightailed it out of there, and I've retreated to the cab of the digger. And I think I'll rip the rest of the fence up with a skid steer. And the little boy in me wants to sort of dig the wasps up a little bit too, see what happens. So we'll probably end up doing that, I reckon. The drama we have now is that the old fence is stuck around a new length of irrigation pipe that I installed. There's a bit of wire wrapped around it, but it's wrapped around it right next to the wasp nest. So I can't get out of the machine to cut the wire because the wasps are now disturbed and they're going crazy. And yeah, so I might have to wait a little while. The wasps have died off, so I'm gonna sneak in there and see how we go. There's still a fair few flying around, but if I go slow, should be okay. That's a wrap for today. Pile here cleaned up, old bathtub, a few other bits and pieces. Tomorrow's job, moving the rest of the weatherboards out to the back of the property, the old troughs out to the back of the property and storing those. Yeah, it's looking good here, looking really good. Really happy with progress. Sometimes I wonder why I make life hard for myself. I could just buy these fence posts, and yet I'm down here back of the property cutting a log from a gully that may or may not be splittable into post rails and posts. Adds like a whole extra good couple of days to the job, but it doesn't cost anything. That's a win, and it's good experience, I guess. Yeah, come with some more of those positives, I guess, the longer I do it, or negatives. I put the chain around it. My plan is to cut it here and then cut it down there about 3 meters long, and then I should be able to snig it back up out of this gully with a skid steer. It'll weigh probably a couple of tons, so and it's quite slippy. We'll see how the skid steer goes. I've got to make a bit of a track in here first, but once it's out of here, it'll be easy to manage. And then down the end here, there's another piece of timber that I'll drag out as well if I need more. But should get quite a few split posts from this if it's not rotten inside. If it's rotten, you know, I'll have to go and find another log somewhere. Damn it, I got the saw jammed. Being a bit ambitious. Woo! That was sketchy. Somewhat expected, but I cut the base off and the root ball and the base of the trunk fell backwards back into the bush, so we have a bonus standing pole now that actually might make it easier to cut. We'll get another few post rails out of that, but worth being mindful whenever you're working with timber, fallen timber. There is a big heavy root ball on there like that. As you cut the timber down, you reduce the weight, and the weight of the root ball at some point will outweigh the weight of the remaining timber, and it will always fall back like that, back into the hole it came out of. So that's the logs cut. The next step is to skid these two big logs out. Each one probably weighs, I don't know, maybe 1.5 ton, 2 ton maybe on that big one down the bottom. We'll drag them out with the skid steer to a spot where it's clear, and then I'll use a tractor to fork them back down to where the tack shed is, so I can split them down there. Hopefully they split. If they don't, they're going straight in the burn pile. Yeah, the only reason I'm not dragging them out with the tractor is because it's pretty steep in here, and it's just easier, more maneuverable in the skid steer, and it generally has more pulling power. So pull them out with the skid steer, that chain, and fork them away. Just heading down the back now with the tractor to pick up these logs on the forks, and I'm having second thoughts. I feel like the tractor's going to be right at its limit. The logs are bigger than I anticipated. Even the skid steer struggled to pull them out. But I'll try giving them a lift and hopefully they don't break anything. It lifts, definitely lifts, but it's heavy. It's just another reason, I think, to get an excavator. There's a million reasons why we need an excavator. I'm just talking myself into it daily. Yeah. I mean, it would just look better having an excavator around here. It would sound better, smell better. The farm would be more of a farm. It'd be good for you watchers. I'm sure you'd love an excavator, wouldn't you? Yeah, put a comment below. Just give me all the reasons in the comments below as to why we need an excavator. And I'll get Mon to go through them. I've got the big one on now and it's actually not lifting really much at all, putting a little bit of pressure on it, so definitely do need an excavator. You wouldn't bloody believe it, but I'm back in the skid steer to pick up that extra big log because the tractor couldn't quite do it. So I'm not sure the skid steer will because it's pretty big, but we'll give it a go. But what we do need is an excavator. ASAP. I've said it before, I'll say it, you'll hear me say it a lot on this channel. We need an excavator. Comments below all the reasons we need an excavator. I need to know every single little detail so I can convince Mon.
So Juri, what are you doing?
I am splitting split rails, post rails for a posted rail fence. We want it to look authentic, we want it to look old. So the only way to do it is to split your own, because you can't buy, not that I've found anyway, split rails anymore. They're all cut square. So for the old school vibe, you've got to do the old school work.
And where did you get this?
This, I dragged it up from down the back. It's been a total ordeal. It's a massive log. Blew over in a storm about 3 years ago, so quite dry but not fully seasoned. It's probably the straightest log I could find on the farm, so nearly detracked the skid steer bringing it up. It probably weighed like 2 tonne. The tractor couldn't lift it, but the skid steer could. So, well, I might try and split a couple more, and then we'll roll the log and do cuts on this other side and get some more. We need about 11 I think, 11 split rails all up. I got a bit carried away, as I tend to do, because we had guests up there and I wanted to use a chainsaw, but I didn't want to wake the guests up and create a heap of noise. So they just went out and I was like, quick, grab the saw, cut the log. And then I was like, oh, I'll just do a quick test with the axe and the wedge. Next minute I've got all these like split rails coming off and I didn't film any of it, so sorry about that.
Very naughty.
wasn't for that patch of rot, I could get all this side off, but that's really bad in there, so.
Oh, it looks good. Oh, you only got 3 more weeks of this and then you'll get your fence up.
Yeah, I know. It's taken me a whole week just to get all the materials together to put one post in.
Yeah, but it's a good looking post.
Have you done this before?
No. No, it's the first time it's happened in 3 years of owning the machine. And then I lifted that massive log, and I should have thought about it, but I screwed around too hard, and the weight of it with the hill just popped it over one lug.
After another of Juri's famous safety briefings and some further problem solving, the show went on.
They're old tired tracks, so you want them a bit tighter than usual. They say 1 inch of deflection with 45 pounds. I think that's what they say in the manual.
No.
That's about 45 pounds. Because I love the Imperial system.
Oh God, no.
Alright, yeah. So tracks are back on. We've got all the post rails split, although we could split a few more and then we can choose the good ones. So I might split another half dozen. And then we can start fencing. It's post and rail fence time today. Gonna put the post in. I drilled the holes late last night with the auger on the skid steer, and I'm just gonna put the posts in today, cut them out and put the rails across. I'll probably get 2 sections done this afternoon. Went for a haircut this morning. Feel that fresh fade. Yeah, so get these posts in and a couple of sections of rails done and call it a day, I think. Oh, some jobs are just better with 2. You really get a whole new level of respect for the old timers, like the old pioneers, doing a simple job like this. With modern tools, I might add, like with a chainsaw and, you know, a skid steer and a tractor. I don't know how they did it back in the day. Like, I honestly don't know. It just, like, it's a hard job as is. Imagine clearing the land and then, yeah, and then hand cutting all these logs and making a post and rail fence. Absolutely insane, but yeah, incredible stuff. It's taken a while. It's taken like better half of a week to collect all the materials and prep the site and get all the materials here, and But I think it'd be worth it, and there's something incredibly satisfying about using materials off your own land. I think that's, I mean, that's why we all do it, really. That's why we have the land. It just makes it, it's just so rewarding. It's a lot of work, but it's so rewarding. Highly recommend to anyone who's out there looking for land or wanting to get out of the city. Honestly, you won't look back. It's fantastic.
Don't miss the next episode at Felon's Corner, guys. It is a big one. Juri puts the finishing touches on the post and rail and the tack shed. And it's our new favourite place in the world. We give you a little look into how we celebrated our birthdays this year.
Cheers!
Happy birthday! And I have a dream come true, but not without its dramas. I'm a little disheartened. She threw me again. I'm kind of a fail